We'll open the meeting at 5:31. Good evening, everybody. Consent agenda, we have previous minutes. Any discussion? Like a motion?
I'll move to accept.
Okay, motion by Polly, by roll, Amy,
Aye.
Mort,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and Polly. I saw your lips move, but I didn't hear you.
Aye. Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, Lynn, anything on the preview prioritization side of it? I know there's no Morgan, so are you gonna do him or skip over?
I can say a couple things about Morgan,
Okay, so,
but yeah, I don't have anything else to move.
okay,
That's not true, actually. When you do your principles, if you could put Nate first, that would be great.
okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
And next up is visitors. I see Jared Valancourt.
Kevin, I just
Yeah.
misspoke. Before you go to visitors, I had
Okay.
to reorient myself. I did misspeak. I have executive session under negotiations, and I'm wondering if we can move that to last so that the principals can jump off.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll go to visitors. Jared, do you have anything you'd like to speak about tonight? Don't know. Sometimes he messages Morgan. You're on mute, Lynn.
Darn it. I was watching for that and I don't see anything. So I'm going to guess if he's not jumped on. Jared, maybe you can send me a message if you did want
Okay.
to.
And then Shaylee Draper. Do you have anything that you'd like to speak about tonight?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Jared has sent
And-
a message, Kevin, that he's not going to be speaking tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
And I see Rick's joined us. Welcome, Rick. And so we will move on to school spotlight. Nate.
Okay, thank you. So I too, like Polly, are multitasking. So I'm in a different scene. I'm very lucky that Adam Bunting of CVU let me use his office as my son plays here in about an hour. So anyway, I'm going to try to share my screen. I was talking to my students about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I need to do a highlight. What do you guys think we should do? And we did not come up with any ideas. We were talking in the lobby, and then all of a sudden they said, well, why don't you just show the PowerPoint that we watch every single morning? And they're like, that highlights all the stuff that we do. And I was like, that's a great idea. So I am going to share my screen. And at any point, if you guys want to jump in, please do so and ask questions. And if someone could just tell me if I'm able to share my screen. Does anybody see anything yet?
Can't see anything yet, but you do have permission.
All right, share screen. Entire screen. Let's try this one.
And you have to hit the share button at the bottom right.
Yep, and I think I got. All right, when I went to that, it muted me. So hold on, let me try this one more time. And hopefully I do not get muted. All right, I am struggling because every time I go to share my screen, it mutes me automatically. Does anybody know why that would happen?
You have to also share your audio. It's in the bottom left corner when on the share screen.
Got it. All right, now you guys good?
Can hear you now.
All right, perfect. So what you are seeing is all this is we have a giant a big screen, and every day Brenda updates with pictures and award winners. So I'm just going to walk you through what goes on at Coles Hollow. This is the last, this is December and January. So, and I'll kind of speak to what you're seeing. So um, January was communication month. This is our business class using our mask very creatively. And students are are communicating using processes and details and perseverance to have kids build gingerbread houses blindfolded. So in business, communication obviously is very important. And so giving directions and following directions is extremely important. It's a pretty fun activity. And again, any questions that you have when you go, just interrupt me because I can't see my screen. As you know, we've been working on moving the pole barn. So this is the concrete and the foundation for the pole barn up at the woodlot. You may have seen in the paper, we've partnered with Pro Driving Training School out of Milton. We have 6 students that are working 1 or 2 afternoons a week driving down to Milton to begin getting their CDL. The other piece that we are pushing on this is that there's a lot of money then given to students to get dual enrollment in college credits, and high schools pay for that. We are asking Phil Scott with some of his money that he wants to give to tech centers to also support students in high school to get certifications and licenses. So if a student wants to take an adult class for their LNA, or in this case, these students wanting to get their CDL, we're hoping that part of that money, tuition, can be paid for to support these kids in their career if they're not college bound. Holly at CDL, I think, I don't think she was expecting paperwork, but that's what happened there. We had the American General Contractors of Vermont come in and talk about all the jobs that are available in construction, in the construction fields. He actually handed out, they made baseball cards that are of all the jobs in the field and how much they make and what the education is needed. So those are lying around our school all over now. Something as simple as a guardrail installer making $45,000 a year. So things that we may have never known of. So that was a good presentation. Just wrapping up January's problem solving awards. This will be in the messenger coming up, but you can quickly look and see who won our problem solving. There'll be pictures of other students and our other winners. We haven't, tomorrow morning is when we'll actually hand these out. So keep this quiet. They don't know they've won yet. Also will be perfect attendance for the semester, and actually that should be say Q2. Self-direction, again, that's been in the paper, and you'll see they'll have their pictures. Here's some perfect attendance. Obviously, being career oriented, we value and celebrate our attendance, those who come to school every day. This was, I believe, November was self-direction month. So here are our award winners. Obviously, we bring them outside to take the pictures so we can unmask. And I'll send this all to you if I'm going too fast. I know I'm supposed to keep it under 10 minutes. So, and January, these are our January communication awards. And I think I've told you guys we have 8 employability awards, 8 employability skills, and each month is the explicit teaching and assessment of those, and then the award winners for that. And here are our morning and afternoon communication award winners. You can see there's 3 in business. They work together on a project, and all got the award. Ryan at Lutz's co-oping. Quick story about Ryan. Derek is very particular and has high expectations for our students. He called and said that he's been so impressed with Ryan that he just wants to give him more money, hire him on the spot. He asked to stay late and clock out and learn from the other guys. And he's like, I've never had anybody, do that. So high praise for Ryan. Landon's with Gabe Jarvis at Jarvis Family Maples. Landon's also one of the ones that is doing the CDL. So he only works a couple of days a week with Gabe, and then goes to Milton. Our pre-tech class, again, they do a lot of learning at other offsite. Here they are, Enosburgh Mountain Road for the aquaponics greenhouse. Looking at how they could do that here. Construction 1 is doing phase 2 of kind of our project, and because we took away the pole barn, our auto program no longer has a place to store some of their cars, so they are putting up a fairly large garage to house some of our cars. One of the things that we're also doing to highlight is we've had some recent car donations to us by a former teacher and a current teacher. Automotive is fixing those cars up and then trying to sell them at a very reduced rate to our students that might need transportation. This is the pole barn at the woodlot. We're actually housing a bunch of our equipment, and there'll be a sap tank in the back to house, we'll be tapping that soon. More construction on the pole barn. Obviously, our forestry students are tapping. They'd hope to be done that by February break. Business class is doing some product and branding. They created some essential oils, figured out how to do that, and went to the Barn Owl, and she might actually sell some of their essential oils. I don't know what they're doing here. I think some sort of personal productivity unit. Back in December, we entered our FFA, worked on some floats, and our students, FFA students, were in the tractor and lighted parade. I thought we represented pretty well. If you were there, good to see that. Okay, here's business leadership at Barn Owl. Like I said, that she might sell some essential oils for us. Our trip to the Army National Guard, again, they're looking for, obviously they're recruiting and looking at for people that want to join and the career opportunities that are offered there. They actually even said that to enhance interest, they will fly that helicopter to our parking lot. So when that happens, I'll let you guys know if you want to come and see that take place. Again, Ryan's killing it at Cold Hollow. Over the holidays, our business leadership class goes out and spreads cheer. So if you were lucky enough to find a positive note and a candy cane, that was our business leadership students. They do that every year. In medical careers, as you know, that class, obviously nurses, doctors, they're in vital need, and these guys are not only are they getting their LNA and getting college credits, but at least 3 or 4 of our students are volunteering for our local our local ambulance services, and they're actually on call doing ride-alongs and getting trained by EMTs and the EMS services. And then when they're 18, they'll actually go on calls and can actually contribute to what's that process. Business leadership all did feature articles, and some got posted or published in the Messenger. And more medical careers, learning CPR, first aid, AED training certification, and working on their LNA skills. So I think, I think that's all of them. Oh, no, they're still going. Like I said, if you guys want to look at these, you can either come and hang out in our lobby, or I will share this slideshow with you. But again, this is the last couple of months at Cold Hollow and what is going on. All right. I think I kept it under 10 minutes. And that is a quick highlight and spotlight of what's going on at Cold Hollow Career Center.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. Lots of good work going on down there.
Yeah, that was,
Go ahead, Polly.
no, I was just going to say that was great. We're seeing how, everybody participating. It's so good.
I love to see that how differently students engage at the Career Tech Center than they do in schools, and it's always really, really fabulous to see that. I'm going to step away just for a second to.
One more thing I forgot to say, and I just looked at my notes. During that same conversation, that group of students also said to maybe think about ending the mask mandate. Just wanted me to throw that in there. So that's all.
You're the one with the direct line to Governor Scott, so why don't you work on it, Nate?
It's going to be on his agenda next week, right, Nate?
I hope so.
Okay. Lynn stepped away for a moment. Now she's back.
Back.
So next up is Morgan. So if there's anything that you want to touch on in his piece, Lynn.
I spoke with Morgan today, and he said he sent the financial report, which I saw in the email earlier today. So he just asked that if anyone had any questions, to feel free to email him at any time, and he'll get back to you. And he said the other thing, just in terms of annual meeting prep, is that he has been working with Polly. He created some resources, Polly, and I think the two of you connected today. Is that right?
Yeah, I did the informational video and I sent it to him for the final thumbs up or thumbs down. And then we'll send it to Courtney to post on social media and the like. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Holly.
He said that is all he had for right now.
Okay. Next up is you.
Okay. So I'm going to be toggling between quite a few screens, so forgive me if it takes me just a moment here. Okay. So I'll start in my board report under personnel. So much of that is informational in terms of support staff hiring, resignations, and open positions. I can go through those, Kevin, if you'd like, or I believe everybody has the written report. What's your preference?
I think we can just, we'll read them.
Okay.
Just continue. Yeah.
So there are some action items that are bolded. So I will be looking for a motion from the board for 2 hires at Enosburgh High School. One is Dylan Callan as the PE teacher for next year, and Matthew Webb as the principal for next year. So I would like a motion for those.
I'll make that motion.
Make the motion.
Excuse me.
Amy made a motion by roll. Polly?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Kevin is an aye.
Next up is resignations. And just before the meeting, I forwarded you a resignation for Patrick Strobel, the high school science teacher at Richford Junior Senior High School. That resignation is effective at the end of the school year. He wrote a really lovely letter, and I wanted to make sure that you all had an opportunity to read that. So be looking for the board to make a motion to accept Patrick's resignation.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sarah. Polly?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Kevin is an aye. And I did read his letter, and it was a good letter. And with regret, I know my kid really likes Pat, as they call him.
Okay. So next up, I forwarded you a residency request from a parent. So it's just under student, and this will require action. So I'm wondering if the board wants to ask any questions about the residency request.
I didn't get the residency request. Did it just go to Kevin?
I didn't get it
It's
either.
just-
Okay,
Yeah,
well, it was linked in my board note, and it must be Doreen didn't attach it as an attachment. Can we save that for the end, so that, because I wouldn't want the student detail to be a part of the open meeting part, because they're personal circumstances that are shared for your consideration.
Yeah.
So could we take that up at the end of the meeting? We require 2 executive sessions.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to talk briefly. I'll move forward with just in terms of COVID as you know by now, there's been more of a shift away from the school level response and contact tracing and the testing responsibilities, and trying to shift more towards an endemic response and putting more of that responsibility on families. So that shift has happened. We've had to navigate in real time how to make that shift happen through the resources, where we have a pretty stable supply at this point of testing materials, and two, just the logistics of how to operationalize that shift and making those testing materials available to students and to families. So I will just give a little shout out to the principals and nurses, again, demonstrating extreme resilience under really trying circumstances with not a lot of time to figure things out that are, pretty different than what we had been doing before. So I feel like we're at a place now where it maybe is feeling a little more streamlined in schools. It's still a heavy lift. Our numbers are starting to come down. We had about half as many cases last week as what we've been having in the previous weeks. So that felt good to see those numbers come down. It's still keeping our nurses and leaders busy just navigating the logistics of it. So that's our reality right now. I just heard today, there are new tests heading our way, the LAMP tests, and those will be available for use in schools, more of a response testing strategy. So something we can use when students or staff present as symptomatic. So that is the crux of what I wanted to share about COVID right now. I would say the last thing that we're still contending with is just the absences, as the numbers were really high, the cases were high, the absences were really tough, especially on these leaders. These leaders did an unbelievable job covering and navigating how to staff and be able to operate our buildings. It's required extreme flexibility with our teachers and our staff and our students. And we have been able to weather the storm and keep our schools open for the most part. We've been very close in many situations. We had one day that we had to close for staffing in one of our schools, and we've had many very close days in some of our other schools. So I think just that wouldn't have happened had it not been for the dedication of these leaders and really trying to dig deep and figure out how to make the impossible work, and they did. So kudos to all of them. I'm going to talk for just a minute about the legislative session. I want to make sure that all of the board members are getting the updates from the VSBA. Is everybody getting those? Okay.
Yes.
I won't go through all of it, but I want to just point out a few bills that I think are important for us to keep our eye on as they move through the legislative process. So I think that, one thing that always kind of comes up in the legislative process is that, taking a look at how education is funded in the state of Vermont. And again, there's a bill in the Senate, 212, talking about income-based education funding. So that's something that you'll hear people talking about. I think one of the biggest and most important bills for us right now is the pupil weighting study. And we're at that place. We've been prepping for transitions around Act 173. And in terms of funding, this is one of two pieces of that work. We've talked about the shift in the census block piece of Act 173, and we believe that that's going to move forward at this point. The question is about weighting. When will weights move forward? So there was the study committee, a task force that they actually introduced a new concept in addition to weights. They talked about the cost equity model. So they're trying to navigate and figure out, do they move forward with pupil weights? Do they make adjustments, or do they explore the cost equity model? So that's something I think is important to all of us, because we know that it costs, there are different resources needed for certain groups of students. For example, students in special education, it costs more to educate students. They require additional services in special education. It costs more to educate high school students because of all of the things in the ed quality standards that you need to offer in high school. It costs more to educate students who live in poverty. So all of those factors are embedded in that weighting study, and it's something that, you know, financially is intended to make the opportunities that students across Vermont have more equitable opportunities. So let's keep our eye together on that. There's some question about what taking English language learners out of the weighting study and making that its own categorical grant. So we're paying attention to that. So lots on Act 173. I won't dig into that because we talk pretty regularly about that. Special ed rule changes associated with 173. I think that another big piece that you're hearing about is the teacher pension system. It feels like that's in a better place, certainly, than where it was before. There's some rewrite happening in Title 16, Chapter 11, and that's around union schools and school districts. And for those of you who have been around since the merger, you know that there was some pre-Act 46 language that was in the Title 16, Chapter 11 section of the law book that was a little in opposition of 46. And so they're trying to clean that language up. So there is a bill they're working on to do that. They're really trying to focus on educator workforce. And I think we all know by now the priorities of the governor center around education as a whole, in particular CTE programming and the work and resources that are going into making sure that we are graduating students who are ready to enter the workforce. So you're going to see more money. We saw that in his governor's address, earmarked towards CTE centers. So that's really good news for us. I think that there's the school facilities stuff. We've talked a little bit about that before. The PCB testing is going to be moving forward for our schools, and we're expecting to see a schedule for when our schools will have the PCB testing. I think that that is pretty much the summary that I wanted to go over today. There are lots of other bills that are relevant to education. Those were the big topics that I really wanted to talk through and address with the board. Are there any questions or comments about the legislative update? So remember, you all received in January a copy of all of the legislators that represent each of the towns within our system. So if you on your own have a desire to reach out and advocate for or against a bill that is happening in the legislature, you have all of their contact information. I'm going to skip negotiations because we're going to do that at the end. And just informational, I want to just give a preview. We have a special FNESU meeting on February 28th, and that is in place of the January meeting. We moved that January meeting. We don't usually have, we usually have a January meeting and then not another meeting until April for the SU board. And the transportation study is going to be done at the end of the month. So we canceled January and moved it until February. So at that board meeting, in case anyone is interested in attending that board, they're going to be going over the mission, vision, and goals that they've been working on in the board retreats. And also they're going to be reviewing the results of the transportation study and the equity lens that they've taken. Some of the things that we've asked them to look at are more equitable transportation to our two high schools, to include options for students in Sheldon and Bakersfield to be able to attend Richford High School. And we've also asked them to take a look at preschool and considering how we might be able to make that more accessible to families who struggle with personal transportation. And we have also asked them to look at, oh boy, there were three. High school, after school program transportation. So that'll all be a part of the bill and or part of the study, and I look forward to seeing what that's going to look like. That's all I have, Kevin. If we could just come back for the executive in the end, good to go.
Okay, sounds good. We can do that. So we move to principal reports, and we'll start with Nate.
Everything there is informational except for, the monthly update on building projects. So I'll just tell you right now how awesome it is to have Vern and his wealth of knowledge in that position. He is right now working on getting us figures and very detailed numbers, so we can come back and have a very concrete ask for capital reserve money. His thought, ADA, I think he has found money for some of the easy low-hanging fruit projects, and that can be done by the end of the year. But summer work and things like that, he wants to really nail down that cost and be able to have me present those numbers to you guys for that ask. But everything is kind of moving on schedule, so a good hire with Vern. That's gonna give him a plug.
Is he coming to that meeting? Is he gonna come to this?
I will ask him to, sure.
Yeah, perfect.
But that's all for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Nate. Next up, Kelly.
Everything is just informational.
Okay, thank you. Beth.
It's all informational.
Jen.
Everything's informational, and I just want to agree with Nate that Vern has been a tremendous addition to our district. He has just been so helpful and goes above and beyond. Really celebrate having him work for us.
Good to hear. Rachel.
Nothing to add.
And Joseph.
All informational. Thank you.
Thank you. And I got Nate. So next, do we go to board business and then we'll hit the executive sessions? Okay, so next meeting is March 8th. So I will not be at that meeting.
I just want to take this moment to acknowledge that this is Kevin's last ERUUSD school board meeting. He has decided not to run for re-election, and on behalf of all of the schools in the ERUUSD, Kevin, I want to personally thank you for your service. I think when we talked the other day, is it 6 years that we talked about?
I don't remember exactly how long. It's 6, maybe 7.
It's been a commitment for sure, and we appreciate the work you've done to help support these two towns through the merger process and all of the extra work you've done, and you will certainly be missed. Thank you for your service, Kevin.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you all.
Are we going to meet in person?
Are you going to meet in person to celebrate Kevin?
I was going to say,
I celebrate Kevin every day, but I meant was the March board meeting.
That is not for me to decide, Rick. We can probably discuss that right now, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know where we're at.
So where you're at legislatively is you have the ability to have remote meetings through next January. And then that'll be revisited within the legislative session. So that doesn't mean that the board couldn't consider some change.
To a hybrid type model or something like that.
So my view is I'm up for meeting in person.
Yeah, and we could potentially do, you know, as long as the mask mandate is in the school, we could do an off-site meeting. I wonder if, Lynn, if you shouldn't just like poll the board or something and see where we're at, because in the March meeting, we're going to have 2 new members who might want to weigh in on that as well. But I'm for that.
You're on mute.
Do you think that this would make sense to take up at your March meeting when you have your 2 new board members present?
I was thinking it'd be nice to be in person when we have 2 new board members present myself, but you know, I don't know for sure what they're going to do with the mask mandate, but he certainly hinted today that it might be going away in not too distant future.
I did see something about some states were talking about removing it and that the governor was going to be looking at it or reviewing it.
Do you want to make that decision to go back before that happens, after that happens? Does it matter to you, the connection to when that happens?
It doesn't actually. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I mean, I can meet with a mask on or mask off. It doesn't really matter. But face to face, I think is good, or face to mask or whatever.
I would be in support of that too. But again, I'm flexible.
I'm not going to weigh in because I'm not going to be present. So if any other board members want to chime in with their opinion. Or Sarah.
Either way, I'm flexible either way.
Yeah,
In
me too.
person would be
Either way.
good.
I'd prefer in person.
It sounds like you want us to warn the March meeting in person. So I was not looking at my whole screen and I forgot to say something else. We also have another board member who this is their last school board meeting. It's Amy Irish, who has also chosen not to run for re-election. And Amy, I think is it 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, something like that?
Somewhere in there.
So Amy was appointed the first time, I believe. Is that right? When you first got on the board? And I think that it took some coaxing because there wasn't a lot of interest in wanting to be on the board at that time. And I know that this is when we start out in that situation and say it'll only be one night a month, and then a pandemic happens and it ends up being way more of a commitment than that. So Amy, I just want to thank you as well. I think that you have been able to bring in so much from your professional career into the work on this board, and that's been really wonderful to have. So thank you so much for your service, Amy. We'll miss
Yeah,
you.
I totally appreciate it. And I have to say, like, I'm not bowing out under any condition other than the fact I have 3 growing children who are very busy schedules, and I anticipate on being back when they're older. So look out, I'm not gone forever.
We'll hold you to that, Amy.
I mean, maybe.
Said right here.
Thank you, Amy.
This is being recorded, you know.
I remember Rick promising Amy it was just an hour a month when she first
Yeah.
started. I just wanted to say that. But thank you.
One meeting, 1 hour.
Thank you, Amy. Okay. The SU board representative report.
We actually did not have a January meeting, so
Right, that's right.
should have caught that and taken it off. My apologies.
Future agenda items. Not really hearing any. So with that, we will look to go to executive session for the negotiations and student.
You're gonna have to go in twice. So
Go in twice, yeah.
One and wrap that up and then come out and go back in.
Yep.
Any principles for either or no?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I would like to keep Kelly, could we do student first?
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. So I'll move to go into executive.
Thank you. Have a good night. Motion by Polly to enter executive by roll. Amy?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Lynn, will you
Movements.
please, Lynn, can you do the minutes for the last part of the meeting and send them to me tomorrow morning?
You're on mute, Lynn.
Fine. Yes, I can do that for you, Jane.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a good night.
Thanks, Jane.
Okay, you're recording.
Okay. And I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move as regarding residency as per executive session.
Motion made by Polly. Sarah?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Polly?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So that motion carries. And then we'll look to enter executive session again for motion for negotiations.
I'll make it.
Motion by Rick. Polly?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Polly, did I get you already?
Yes.
Okay. I see two Amy's and it keeps throwing me off. And I'm an aye.
Okay.
Okay, we are out of executive session. I'll entertain a
Okay,
motion.
so I will make a motion to approve the staff recruitment and retention plan.
Okay, by roll, Amy?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Mort?
Aye.
Polly?
Aye.
And I am going to recuse myself from this.
I should have actually as well.
That's right.
Okay.
So I am
I'll-
recusing myself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. No, I am recusing myself from the vote.
So we've got 4 yeses, 0 nos, and 2 abstentions.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have for you tonight.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Made by Polly. Have a good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Kevin,